This is the story of how South Korea's Big Four entertainment agencies engineered a multi-billion-dollar music industry through a rigorous industrial-scale trainee system. These four companies turned talent into a science to ensure global dominance, and the reality behind the polished performances is a high-stakes production line where the success rate is remarkably low.
SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, JYP Entertainment and HYBE dominate the market by perfecting 5 core pillars of instruction. Instructors drill every trainee in vocals and rap, high synchronization dance and foreign languages like English and Japanese to prepare them for international fans. Media coaching covers everything from public speaking to variety show etiquette, while character development ensures they maintain the clean public image the industry demands. Lee Soo-man founded SM Studio in 1989 and pioneered this total production system before renaming the company SM Entertainment in 1995. The 1996 debut of HOT proved his manufactured model could succeed on a massive scale, which established the blueprint for every idol group that followed. SM Entertainment eventually became the first K-pop agency listed on the Kosdaq in 2000, and by 2001 they were already moving into Japan with a strategy they called localization by globalization. Building these stars requires an incredibly expensive gamble that many outsiders rarely see. It costs an agency upwards of $7.5 million to debut a single K-pop group as of 2026, a price tag that covers years of development, housing and marketing. JYP Entertainment reported spending 1.12 billion won, or roughly $765,000 on new talent in 2024 alone, marking a 30% increase from their previous year's budget. The path to the stage remains narrow despite these massive investments. Statistically, for every 1,000 trainees who enter the system, only about 20 to 30 ever actually reach their debut stage. Trainees live by a 9 to 10 schedule, which means they clock in at 9 a.m., hand over their phones and practice until at least 10 p.m. every single day. Some days begin as early as 5 a.m. with mandatory stretches, and the result is a lifestyle that leaves no room for anything outside the agency walls. 14-year-old trainees like Leewon Kim represent a common reality where they attend a half day of school, followed by lessons that often end at midnight. This grueling pace leaves young performers in a state of constant exhaustion, yet the system views leaving early as a sign of weakness. Managers enforce a strict environment where practice continues until the early hours of the morning, often pushing the final exit time to 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Dorm life adds another layer of control, as trainees often share small apartments with 3 or 4 others, in conditions that former trainees describe as having zero privacy. Security cameras monitor practice rooms 24 hours a day, and this constant surveillance means the only place to find a moment of peace is often the changing room. Managers might even text trainees late at night to check their whereabouts, and that's when a slow response can lead to immediate disciplinary action. Former trainee Euodias has shared accounts of dorms infested with cockroaches and a level of oversight that felt absolute. This surveillance extends to personal devices, as many agencies confiscate phones upon arrival at the training centre. The resulting isolation from family and friends serves to focus the trainee entirely on the upcoming monthly assessment. Monthly assessments serve as the high-pressure core of the factory, where performers must prove their worth to a panel of producers and executives. Fail these evaluations and the consequence is immediate dismissal from the program. Agencies like SM use A and B tiers to rank talent, and the result is that Team A receives better housing and priority for debut tracks, while everyone else struggles to keep up. These evaluations go beyond singing and dancing, as trainees are also judged on their manners and attitude, and even their ability to guess piano notes by ear. Some drills involve mandatory 1-hour meditations where opening one's eyes is forbidden, followed by a written reflection on personal failures. This psychological conditioning ensures that only the most obedient and mentally resilient individuals progress toward a potential debut. Physical standards are just as strict as the vocal training, with agencies often enforcing a target weight of 100 pounds for female idols. MZMC and other labels track BMI twice a month to ensure compliance. And what nobody expected was how these diet plans, often consisting only of boiled eggs and chicken, would lead to documented health crises. Cosmetic procedures are rarely mandatory on paper, but monthly assessments frequently include suggestions for plastic surgery to achieve a more marketable look. Dietary surveillance is so intense that some trainees admit they no longer know what a normal meal looks like after years of restriction. Testimonies include reports of trainees being handed diet plans aiming for a weight of only 88 pounds, leading to widespread cases of eating disorders. Paul Thompson of MZMC noted that agencies focus on a specific harmony of visuals and vocals, and this means anything that disrupts the perfect product image is quickly corrected. This grueling environment gave rise to the slave contract controversy, a term describing the historically long-term agreements that lasted 10 to 13 years and strictly limited personal freedom. Most agencies also utilize a trainee debt system, and the result is that performers must pay back the millions spent on their development before they ever receive a share of the profits. Recouping a $300,000 music video cost or the $7.5 million debut investment means many idols start their careers deep in the red. Revenue splits often start with a 70 to 30 ratio in the company's favor to ensure the agency recovers its massive upfront investment as quickly as possible. This financial structure means that even a successful debut doesn't guarantee a paycheck for the artists themselves. The 7-year curse further complicates this, as exclusive contracts are capped by law, forcing groups like Everglow and One Use to face high-stakes renewal periods in 2026. Active trainee numbers in South Korea fell to 1,170 by 2022, representing a 38.3% decrease from the 1,895 trainees recorded just 2 years earlier. A class divide has also emerged in 2025, where many trainees now come from wealthy gold spoon backgrounds because they can afford private prep academies before even signing with a major label. These academies have become the primary gateway to the Big Four, creating a system where only those who can afford pre-training usually survive. The personal toll of this system is heavy and often includes intense ageism. Trainees over 20 are frequently considered too old to debut, and this pressure forces many to drop out of traditional school before they turn 18. Critics often point to the dollification of idols, where performers must embody hyper-idealized versions of beauty. Hwasa of Mamamoo addressed this directly, stating that if she didn't fit the generation's standard of beauty, she would simply have to become a different standard. Despite these cultural and personal challenges, the financial side of the industry continues to explode. The Kpop event market hit a value of $7.768 billion in 2024, and analysts project it will reach $8.361 billion by 2025. Much of this growth stems from moves like HYBE's $1.05 billion acquisition of Ithaca Holdings in 2021, which successfully pushed the Kpop management model into the Western market. At their peak, BTS alone contributed over $4.65 billion annually to the South Korean economy. Record-breaking quarterly revenues continue to flood in for the Big Four in 2025. HYBE reported over $520 million in revenue for a single quarter, while JYP saw a staggering 125% rise in year-on-year earnings. SM Entertainment also reached a historic high with over 300 billion won in quarterly revenue, proving that the Dream Factory model remains one of South Korea's most profitable exports. January 1st, 2026 marked a shift as South Korea implemented new legal protections for trainees. These laws require agencies to pay damages for contract terminations and expand mental health provisions beyond just severe depression. The 2026 supplementary agreement also prohibits labels from forcing minors to miss school. And this changed when verbal abuse and sexual harassment were officially added to the list of forbidden behaviours. As the industry moves through 2026, the Dream Factory is finding new ways to evolve. SM and HYBE are currently integrating artificial intelligence to develop 6th generation trainees and virtual idol concepts that reduce human risk. The factory model is also being exported globally, and we can see the results in groups like NITSU and CATSI, which use Kpop training methods for non-Korean members. While newer contracts focus more on transparency, the high-pressure nature of the system remains. The Kpop Dream Factory operates on the philosophy that effort alone defines the performer. Jungkook of BTS famously put it this way: effort makes you. You will regret it someday if you don't do your best now. While the industry has grown from a local Korean phenomenon into a multi-billion-dollar global power, it is still defined by massive financial risk and a razor-thin margin for success.